Let's begin our pumpkin caramel blondie recipe by mixing all of our dry ingredients in a big bowl. So I've got flour swap, a little baking powder, salt, lots of pumpkin pie spice, and lots of cinnamon. So I'm going to mix the dry ingredients until everything is well incorporated. You don't want any big lumps of ingredients. Next, we'll add our wet ingredients. I've got 1 egg swap, and this is mixed with very hot water. About 1 teaspoon of pure vanilla extract. Here's 2/3 cup of very well stirred room temperature butter swap. Remember, if you have trouble stirring your butter swap, just throw it in the blender on high speed for a few seconds. And after a minute in the blender, it'll stay smooth and creamy for a couple months. Finally, we've got 1/2 cup of pumpkin puree. And you can use fresh or canned. I've just got some organic canned here. Now I'm just gonna mix my wet and dry ingredients together. You can always use a electric hand mixer or stand mixer for this, but when I'm doing small batches, I find it's really easy to just use my flat plastic spoon. Now this is my blondie batter for the grain-free flour swap. So you can see it's fairly thick, almost like cookie dough. And this is normal. Once you've got everything blended together, go ahead and let the batter rest for about 5 minutes. That's going to give the fiber a chance to absorb any remaining moisture. And then we'll load up our pan. And here's a quick demonstration of the difference of how the 2 different flour swaps handle. This whole grain batter is going to be very sticky and not quite as thick. So now we're going to load both of our pans. We've got a 9x9 parchment lined baking tray. We've got our oven heated up to 325 degrees. 9x9 baking tray. We're gonna make our cleanup really easy, so we'll use parchment paper, and then we'll go ahead and just scoop our batter right inside. Now because this batter is so sticky, I've wet my hands really well. That is gonna make it pressing evenly so much easier, and I've got a little bowl of water sitting next to me, and I'm just gonna keep wetting and pressing. So I've done the same with my grain-free flour swap, and I've really taken my time to make sure I have a nice even blondie base. That grain-free batter was quite a bit thicker, but it actually presses a bit easier into the pan. So we're ready to make our caramel. Okay, we'll make our caramel by first putting 1 cup of granular sugar swap in a saucepan, followed by 1/2 cup of well-stirred room temperature butter swap. We've got 1/2 teaspoon of salt, a teaspoon of cinnamon, a teaspoon of pumpkin pie spice, a tablespoon of vanilla extract, and we've got 4 tablespoons of some almond milk. And any plant-based unsweetened milk of your choice will work just fine. Now we're going to move this to the stovetop. I'm going to crank up the heat to about medium-high, stir it frequently, and we'll bubble it about 5 minutes. I'm just going to mix this. I've got really hot burner, medium-high. I'll continue to stir until it starts to boil. I'll turn down my heat to about medium. Continue to boil until it gets nice and thick and bubbly. Got a nice boil going here. I've got my timer set for about 4 or 5 minutes. When it's done and ready to pour on top of your blondie, unbaked blondie batter, this caramel will noticeably thicken, and it's getting close. I'd say 1 more minute from here. We'll pour our caramel sauce on top, spread it around, and top it with nuts. We'll make sure our caramel sauce is nice and even. And then we'll top it with our nuts. My oven's heated up to 325 degrees. And we're gonna bake both the whole grain blondies and grain-free blondies for about 30 minutes. I like lots of crunch nuts on my brownies and blondies. So I've got a heaping 1 cup chopped walnuts. This is also really amazing with pecans. Probably really good with hazelnuts. So choose your own adventure for your nut topping. I'll just gently pat my nuts into that caramel so they bake within it and they don't fall off when they're done. And I'm going to move it to the oven and bake.